So I thought at that point in time I was going to have to put the cat in the car because I was going to bring Larry's Lexus back to Juniata. We were going to bring the car back here. And I was packing up his furniture and his artwork and some things that I had called back to President Keppel, and he said yes, the college could use these items. So some items were being shipped. And the day I was getting ready to leave, another neighbor said, I will take the cat. So the big question was, where's the cat? The cat is in California, in good hands, and I'm actually glad I didn't have to bring back the cat because it would have been hard to explain why Jim wanted me to tell this story. Is one of the things coming back was I had this car that was registered to Larry. I had a Pennsylvania driver's license that said Kim Kitchen. And I had an insurance card that was a photocopy that said Juniata College. And I had a lot of artwork, and the car was filled with items. And I was driving the whole way from California. I wanted to make good time. It was going to take me a couple days to get back to Pennsylvania. There was a big snowstorm brewing, and so I was trying to beat the snowstorm. And I was in Nevada, flat, it was pretty flat. Speed limit was 75. It was a Lexus. I hadn't driven a Lexus before. Smooth riding car. And saw some tumbleweeds blowing. I saw some dust. And I realized there must be a car coming from somewhere. And I look and I see the light flashing. So I pull over, I'm smiling, thinking, wow, how am I going to explain this? And the cop said, do you have any idea how fast you were going? No. I was going about 98, 75. And so he said, well, I'd like to see your driver's license, registration, insurance card. And I said, well, I need to get it in my bag in the back seat if I could. Will you let me do that because I have some paperwork there you're probably going to want to look at. I said, because this car is actually registered to Larry Johnson. He's passed away, and I'm bringing his car back from California to Pennsylvania. Well, why would you be doing that? Well, because he was a Juniata alum, and he gave us everything, and that's why I have all this stuff in the back seat. So I showed him my driver's license, and I said, here's a photocopy. And he kind of looked at me, almost in shock, like this is too good for her to be lying. She couldn't make up a story this good. And so there I was, and I thought, well, maybe he'll cut me a break because I was explaining how I had not driven the car. I was trying to beat this snowstorm, and he was being all nice, and I thought I was good. Next thing I know, he comes back with the ticket, and the big question is, did Juniata pay for that ticket or did Kim Kitchen? Kim Kitchen paid for that ticket. It was my fault, so I did. But you know, so it was a funny story. I mean, in that regard. But in all sincerity, it really means so much when somebody thinks enough to leave everything. In his case, to Juniata. And I know many of you in this room have added provisions in your will for the college, and it really is like you're considering Juniata family. So with that, I thank all of you for coming out tonight because I know the committee worked really hard, and at this point, Jim, I know you weren't expecting me to do this, but I would ask that all the committee members stand because without their hard work, this would not be successful. So if you would all stand up, I'd like you to stand up and be recognized. Thank you so much. And thank you for coming out to your alma mater. I hope you're having a fun weekend. And thanks for all that you do for Juniata. Not only do you give of your financial resources, you give a lot of your time. You also help to recruit students. You help in many different volunteer capacities. And we really do thank you from the bottom of our heart. Have fun.
Well, she said I was a tough act to follow, but one of the things on my agenda very soon was to thank Carl and thank Jean and thank the committee, and she just took part of that away. Now, I have a Penn State sweatshirt on. Why? Well, I'll tell you. Milton Hershey well, I live in Hershey. He was a nice enough guy to contribute a lot of money to Penn State so they would build their medical center in Hershey. And what that did was they took a lot of great cardiac surgeons near my door. So therefore, after my operations, my wife didn't have to travel far to visit. So this is in respect to Milton Hershey and Penn State and their impact on our community and what they did for me, because I'm still around. And also, another little story was, this goes back to Hershey football, our son's there, and I invited back to speak, this is another year, ex-player of mine. And he was at the Hershey Medical Center, ready to become a doctor, and I'm getting a little heavy again here, but it was such a great message that it reminds me of what Kathy said in our brochure that we read, that was the class of '61, and it was so meaningful when I read what she said, that pain and suffering is inevitable, misery is optional. And I don't know if that came from her or whether she took it from somewhere else, I don't care. But boy, is that great. And this boy came back to our class and talked to some of the Hershey football players, and his message was, as a doctor, as a football player at Lower Dauphin, as a football player at Penn State, I lost games, and I thought my world would end because we didn't lose many games. He said, now I'm a doctor, and I see children dying of leukemia, and those games were minor. So, you reflect back on what you have, and because we're here, what we have, and we're so blessed to be here and be alive, and this is just such a great evening. And I just had to say that about what she said and about what he said. Those kind of things just have meaning to us. And this is super. Now, I want to turn it over to another super gentleman, and he's going to give us a PowerPoint. And it's somebody we don't know. It's a surprise guest, Carl Schreiner.
Gabe told me that I use the wireless here to do stuff, so I think we don't need the wireless. I am believing that what I'm looking at, you'll be looking at. I'm hoping. Well, so far you're not. Hey, there's the wireless. There it is, this wireless.
This one works too. Have it your way.
I got it my way. There you go. Living the life that kids today wish they had. Panasonic. That's what we fought for. That's what WW2 was about. We can get champions. Okay.
Turn it on.
Turn it off.
Who's the other night? That one's dead.
It can't be. It's got a wire.
I'll bring it to you.
Wait a minute. Hey, I take coaching too, you know. Just in stereo. Boy, we gotta get feedback out of that, but I won't worry about it. Okay, now I can't see. All right. So we did live the life that kids today wish they had. And I started mining a couple pictures that I had. Some folks sent some in they had, and then I unashamedly just started scanning yearbooks. But I hardly know whether to start with Bill Hitty with that really cool haircut, with his mother, his wife-to-be, wearing their hat and their gloves, not to be outdone by Marty Winger and her cousin, with their gloves and their proper purse. But you know the guy I really like? Did you ever see a picture of Tom Sawyer and his bike?